Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video, the continuation basically provided by a subscriber uh, for the yesterday's video that I did on some ideas on how to do EC maps and bigger maps in general and more missions and more stuff. The 10 feature video that I did, it's just a complementation for that. Let's thank our members: Overlanding 11B, Commander Frosty, Lafush, Igor, Yuyush, Justin Field, Jaf, Astropub, Silami, and all the Fishpad members. Subscribe and let's get into it. So we are going to talk about the idea that came for me from CK16, which is a subscriber and a member of our Discord. Very cool guy. And basically, we are going to talk about an idea that he had. Basically, it's the same idea that I did on the video, but actually organize it and actually an idea, just not just a general idea, an actual thing. So yeah, the idea here is to have EC maps, but a better way to have these EC maps for more modern aircraft. There are some stuff that I will discuss with you that I disagree with him, and some changes that I think it should be made. But I think for this, I don't think this should be like in a normal mode, even though we can get a lot of these things to get in the normal EC maps in the normal rotation. I still think that this should be a proper mode, EC mode. We already have a simulator battle mode that a lot of people play, and I think if they did an EC map like this, as we're going to talk about, as an event like the simulator is, a lot of people would play it as well because it's a little bit more realistic. Maybe not as effective to do a lot of things, but it is more realistic, it is more fun in my opinion, and it would make the game way better than it is right now in the game modes, okay? So the idea is obviously for the enduring confrontation with multi-respawn, you can spawn in different crews, but if you lose every single crew, if I'm not mistaken, you will end up not having, not being able to respawn in that crew for a while, at least. So yeah, but basically this is the system. If you have 5 crews and 5 different aircraft in those crews, you can spawn on every single one of them. This is debatable, obviously, and let me know in the comments what you think about this, the changes that you think. I know a lot of people for some reason hate EC maps, but well, I still think that the EC maps should be on top tier, not on 9.7, but still uh, it's a matter of just testing it out a bit and stuff like that. So yeah, basically it is the EC map, as I said. Many maps that are there, like Vietnam, other maps like that, Afghanistan and stuff like that. Some maps will have sea, some maps will not. Some maps will have more ground, more sea, and depending on the situation, but still they will have different objectives which are being uh, used for the ground forces, used for the naval forces, for the AI, for the everything, for the air forces, everything. And this will make it so that if you destroy some of the stuff, you get the ticket downs and stuff like that. I mean, a ticket system would still be used, okay? So let's start with the ground objectives. So obviously we are going to have 3 types of objectives: the ground objectives, naval objectives, and air objectives. But let's talk about the ground objectives. So you will have the main airfield, as always, a non-destructible airfield, so that everybody can actually respawn on that. This can be debatable. Maybe 3 airfields, one of them is destroyed, and doesn't matter, you have 2. If another destroyed, you can destroy everything. Maybe destroy them with anti-runway munitions, maybe bombs and stuff like that. It would allow them basically to resupply. The friendlies would be resupplied, refueled, repaired at this location, and basically the benefits to destroy the enemy location. I mean, if it's the normal EC maps, the airfield would be destroyed and you cannot spawn on them. But in this idea here that he has, the airfield would not be destructible. So yeah, defenses would be the short-range AAA systems and 4 mid-range SAMs. As we're going to talk about it later, we can talk about it now actually, just for you to know. But yeah, it's basically these units that he says here. So short range AAA would be the M167 watts, which is basically a truck or a towed M163, Gatling gun. And for the USSR, this is Su-23-2. For the short range SPAAG would be the M63, together with the Shilka. Short range SP SAM would be the Chaparral and the Strela 10, which they are not in the game right now, but it would be nice. Mid range SAM would be the XM 975 and the OSA for the Russians. Long range would be the MIM 23 Hawk and the S25 Divina, which is also fine. MBTs, as you see, M60, 62s, light tanks, the Sheridan and BMP, the 113 and the MTLB4 as the APC. SPGs, which is the artilleries, would be basically M109s and the 2S3M. Some trucks, obviously the Ural ZIL 131 and the M39, and some trains as well. There are some aircraft as well as the B-52G, 295. This is all AI, okay? So don't you worry, it's all AI. For airborne recon, as you see, there's many aircraft that we're going to talk about it later as well. But yeah, so for the AA systems here, for the airfield would be 6 short-range AA, so the Su-23-2, for example, and some mid-range SAMs like the OSA or maybe the Strela even, but still something like that. Then we would have some forward air bases, a shorter airfield located closer to the main front, and that is set up for rearm, repair, and refuel. Same thing as always. Hidden off the enemy map unless spotted by a recon flight. The benefits of having it protected is to ability to resupply, refuel, and repair at this location, so closer to the front line. If you destroy it, the enemy won't be able to resupply on that. So there is going to be at least one main airfield and these smaller forward air bases near the not near the front line, but a little bit nearer, you know. So yeah, how to destroy it? Obviously with bombs, rockets, maybe napalm. It can be used, anti-runway ammunition, stuff like that. If added, something like that. The defenses would be the Strela stands and the chaparrals, together with a fixed position uh, uh, short AAA type of anti-air. So Field HQ would be a headquarters, a setup for forward command and control, consisting of several tents and a major mobile radio facility. This is a key communication point for ground forces to communicate to each other and allied forces. Hidden off enemy maps unless basically uh, spotted by a recon flight. Obviously, everything will be spotted by a recon flight. Um, if not, it's not going to be shown. The benefits to protecting this friendly location is to maintain a radio communication with friendly ground forces, which basically means in this idea that it is allowing to spot enemy aircraft and ground forces that are near friendly ground forces in contact. So basically, the way that it would work is to just make sure that everything that it's in contact with your friendly forces are being shown, especially in the AI system. But if this is destroyed, you cannot see that anymore. You will have to find it for yourself. Okay, so much more harder. So the how to destroy, obviously bombs, rockets, missiles, napalm now that we have, and the defense would be the short AAA systems and Strelas and stuff like that, which are very dangerous if you think that they are IRCCM and IR guide. So yeah, the IRS or Intercept Radar Station, a field-based radar station set up at a safe distance to monitor friendly airspace and have some ability to track aircraft over enemy space, would give information on enemy aircraft via grid location and a mark on a map. A no HUD marker, just kind of the map position sometimes, it would be basically hidden unless it's spotted by the recon flights, and basically it would provide grid locations for enemy aircraft that are within 30 kilometers. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty good actually. It's the GCI, obviously the ground control. So this would help it people that are just trying to hide and just kill ground. This would make it a bit better. This would make it also, I don't know if this would be a thing, but if you fly low, you will be hidden from this radar in real life. So this would be kind of a problem in game, maybe. So yeah, obviously if you destroy it, nobody will have that anymore in your team or in the enemy team. So yeah, and how to destroy it? Obviously, bombs and rockets are the main thing, but obviously also anti-radiation missiles. This would be an addition that I told you about on yesterday's video, you know. But yeah, it would make it usable to destroy not only the AA systems that we are talking about, but also the um, GCI system, you know, protected by a lot of short-range AA, maybe a little bit more. Air defense emplacement, maybe uh, around the area of some more key friendly locations. There would be a system, missile system, capable of reaching out until 20 kilometers in all directions, you know. Enemies. Obviously, the missiles that we see here are the S-75 and the Hawk, which are very bad missiles to be honest, compared to a lot of things, you know. So don't you worry. I mean, it's 20 kilometers seems a lot, but the missiles are pretty bad for the time, you know. They're very old missiles. The I-75 is from the 60s, so it is a very old system, but still, it's usable, and it would make it harder to just fly around and killing the targets, you know. Obviously, uh, you will have a warning area marked, basically, uh, like if some kind of uh, basically a anti-radiation kind of reconnaissance mission was made, you know, and you would know where the enemies are. But yeah, basically this would make it so that it's harder to kill the HQ, for example, or the GCI and stuff like that. You would be able to kill it against with rockets, bombs, obviously, but obviously the anti-radiation missiles as well. So this could be a thing. And with depending on the AI, you can even put some different types of AIs and better AIs and worse AIs depending on the map and stuff like that, depending on the objective that they are protecting. Okay, this would make it a lot better than what we have right now, but still, it is not that OP, you know, in the sense of the amount of stuff that you have to do. So it would have two long-range SAMs, each of one of them, and four short-range ones. Would have some supply depots as well, providing fuel, ammunition, obviously hidden off if it's not spotted by a recon flight. Obviously, you can slow the offensive or ground units if you destroy it. Disable the I mean, the time can be increased if this is not if this is destroyed, you know. So basically, you would make it just a supply depots near the some targets and stuff like that, so that you can destroy with bombs and stuff like that, protected with some AA. Supply convoys and trains. Obviously, you can have six trucks or some trains, obviously, that can resupply a damaged or destroyed location on arrival to the location objective, so that it can actually repair some of the key locations. So, for example, the GCI is destroyed, the ground control, the radar. Maybe a train is dispatched to there to actually repair it, and that would make it, if you destroy the train, the repair would not be made, you know. So they can be destroyed: cannon, bombs, rockets, obviously. um, the train defenses, obviously none, but convoy defenses would be some APCs, some short-range SPAAGs. So kind of dangerous as well, because the SPAAGs in DC maps are pretty dangerous. Armored convoys obviously would be the main force for the ground forces, so they would punch through weak enemy defense positions. So the objective is to just push to the enemy territory, you know. If you destroy theirs, just like it is right now, you help your friendly forces, and they will advance, and you will get more tickets. Basically, how it works, you know, with MBTs, short SPAGs, APCs, light tanks, stuff like that. Fire-based armored positions would be some defensive positions as well, so that they can actually provide some defenses against those more armored battalions that are coming up from the enemy. You know, so if you prevent basically them from being destroyed, the tickets will not be depleted. You know, how to destroy, obviously rockets, bombs, cannons. Fire-based defenses would be short-range AA systems, some SPGs to destroy with artillery, light bunkers and stuff like that. Armored positions would be some MBTs, SPGs, short-range SPAGs. So yeah, basically this would be the ground objectives, okay? So the air objectives would have basically the same idea behind it. If you completed them, you can have some tickets or some easier thing. So it's a more dynamic map stuff, you know. As you see on the ground stuff, there's a lot of that you can do. You can bomb some bases, you can bomb supplies, you can destroy trains, you can attack as a CAS, you can do anti-radiation, you can do anything. So you would make it anti-runway, you can do anything, and it's much more engaging than what we have right now. For the air objectives, we have the reconnaissance flight, a high-flying, fast-moving target across the map, basically flying along the lines of the border, and basically we'll try to get some positions on key enemies. Obviously, this is an AI, you know. This would be, I mean, he says about the MiG-25 RB, but we don't have to have that because that would be kind of OP. Not in the top tier, but still. And maybe the F4C, the RF4C, you know, but still, this could be debated. So yeah, it must exit the map safely to report the position. So the objective of the enemy is to destroy yours, and your objective is to destroy theirs. If you don't destroy it, you will reveal some positions for the enemies of your targets and of your friendly positions and stuff like that. Bomber flight, obviously we already have these, but this could be improved. A large number, a bomber cell of 3 large bombers, you know. Basically, a large bomber cell of 3, like, but more, you know. It could be like 9 aircraft or something like that. Every 10 minutes, we'll reduce a single keyed enemy position that was spotted on the map by the reconnaissance, you know, by 75%. So this could be the B-52 and the 295, for example, flying really high and stuff like that. If you destroy all the bombers, you get you just protect your bases basically. So yeah, this could be pretty interesting. Combat search and rescue. So a flight of 2 helicopters enters the map after allied aircraft is shot down. They will mark an allied maps where they are heading towards and require escort to and from the AO. They are vulnerable to both ground forces and air, so clear the path. Can only happen once every 5 minutes. The benefits would be to retrieve, if the pilot is retrieved by the helicopters, the crew can respawn the match on that match without using a backup, you know. So it would make it so that you can actually respawn on that thing. So if you lost a pilot, you can take off from another aircraft and just protect your own aircraft, the helicopters, to capture your own pilots, you know. If you destroy, you prevent them from respawning, so pretty good. Air transport flight would be the same as the train, for example. A single aircraft flight from off the map that attempts to land on a forward airfield to repair, rebuild, something like that, you know. If you destroy it, it prevents from being rebuilt. An airborne tanker, obviously a single tanker aircraft that orbits from a safe distance from the front line at mid to high altitudes to allow players to refuel mid-air. So obviously this is self-explaining. So yeah, pretty interesting. Everything that I talk about it here, I kind of talked about it yesterday on the features video, so take a look on that as well. And then the naval objectives as well would have so the ground objectives, the air objectives. So it's a very dynamic environment, and the naval objectives as well. The main thing would be the carrier group, a very large naval formation centered around an aircraft carrier, and 5 supporting vessels capable of short and mid-range air defenses, uh, that is able to launch and recover naval aircraft throughout the match. The carrier would be worth 33% of the team tickets. The benefits obviously are to just have a mobile airfield for naval aircraft, and if you destroy it, nobody can spawn on that, and it's worth 33% of the tickets. The defenses would be one aircraft carrier, one guided missile cruiser, and 4 destroyers, maybe even more than that. And with that, you can have anti-ship missiles and anti-ship aircraft that can actually destroy these very easily with those missiles. Not very easily, because they would have seaweeds and stuff like that. So it is a very large suggestion. It's not a small one, but it is still pretty interesting. So yeah, surface action group, a mid-sized naval formation centered around the guided cruise missile, and 3 supporting vessels, so capable of short and mid-range air defenses. These provide limited air defense zones and can attack enemy ground and naval forces. So just a kind of a one of these smaller fleets that you would see if, sailing around, basically. And then an amphibious group, a mid-sized naval formation centered around an amphibious assault ship, and 4 supporting vessels. I don't know about the amphibious group naming, but this would make it so that it is one of those assault amphibious carriers that the AV-8 used to take off, or even the type of carrier cruiser that the Russians had with the Kiev or the Baku class or Kiev class, I don't remember, which are in game. It is in game right now with the Yak-38. So something like that along those lines. Obviously they could defend themselves with the missiles and stuff like that. Worth 25% of the friendly tickets. So just killing those 2 would make it half the tickets, because you are destroying a lot of ships, and with that, obviously, you would need the anti-ship missiles and stuff like that would make it better. And yeah, basically to wrap it up, we have the vehicles. So the short-range AAA systems that I said before, the SPAAs, we already told you about these before. So the VADs, the ZSU-23-2. For the self-propelled would be the M163 and the ZSU-23-4 Shilka, For the self-propelled SAM would be the Chaparral and the Strela 10, which is based on the MTLB, which are self-propelled and IR guided. A mid-range AA would be the XM975 and the OZA, which is a radar guided, but very similar to the Tunguska that we have right now. Long range would be the Hawk and the Divina, as I said. They are certified. They don't have the most amount of range, so they would not be OP, especially against the SEED and anti-radiation missiles. MBTs, M60, NT62, light tanks, the Sheridan and the BMP-1. APC, the 113 and the MTLB. SPG would be the M109 and 2S3M. Trucks would be the M39, ZIL-131. The trains would be this F7F, the F7A, and the M62. And the air units, AI units, would be for the bombers, the USA getting the B-52G, the USSR the 295. Recon would be the USADR F4C, and the USSR the MiG-25RB. I think this could be changed because there's maybe the U-2 or something like that for the US. I don't know, something like that, which would be kind of weird, but still. Air transport would be the C-135, which is the Boeing 707, but I think this would be fitting more of a Hercules, the C-130, but still. The USSR with the Antonov 12. The helicopters would be the CH-53 and the Mi-8. Airborne tankers, the 216N Badger, or the KC-130, or the KC-135. And the aircraft, the naval units would be the CV-59 USS Foresto, obviously, that we have. The USSR carrier could be the Kuznetsov class, but maybe not. Maybe in the future when once we get more stuff, more aircraft. The guided missiles cruisers would be the Leahi class cruiser or the Cresta 2, which is a well-known cruiser. The destroyers would be the Spruance class or the Kashin. Amphibious class assault ships, obviously the Kiev class for the Russians, and the Tarawa class amphibious assault ship. And yeah, basically just some amphibious boats as well if they want to. So basically this is it. Um, it is a very well designed idea. There's some tweaking that they need to do, and Gaijin, I really wish that they listen to this, because this would be amazing to have all these different types of objectives, all these different types of missions and stuff like that. Would make the game so much better and so much more fun. It's not even funny. So I really hope they add that. But yeah, let's see if they actually just add the normal EC for RB again. You know, that would be amazing as well. But yeah, at least for top tier. So yeah, and I understand why people don't like these maps for 9.7 and 10.0. But for top tier, I mean, come on, you're that anxious of getting to a massive purple. You know, like in top tier, it is way better to have an EC map that you have to calmly just take off and try to find a target on the radar, and then you go for the fireball after the BVR and stuff like that. It's much more realistic and more fun. And with these objectives, it would be even more fun. Some of these objectives can be even used to the normal rotation for RRB as well. So yeah, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I see you guys on the next one. Let me know in the comments what you think, and subscribe.